Greetings, Vayniacs. This is Stu with Kian.
Hello.
And, as Gary announced on Wine Library TV, the results of the survey are in, and we're going to talk with Kian today about how we're going to get you that wine that you voted on. So, Kian, Vayniacs are going to be sourcing from 4 different sites in Napa, and I want to tell you briefly what they're looking for.
Okay.
It really seems that the Vayniac group is looking for a balanced wine. Something that kind of is a balance between restraint and extraction, so right down the middle, but they are aiming for some big aromatics and some nice color. So how do we get there?
Well, what's real nice here is that we have the ability to actually blend from 4 really distinct areas of Napa Valley. So Young Englewood, which incidentally is actually going to supply us with some Cab Franc as well, is actually a really good spot for getting that real ripe fruit component and the dark fruit elements like blackberries and black currants that a lot of people look for in their Cab-based blends. But to kind of touch back on basically the style of Vayniacs wanting to make a balanced wine, nothing actually gives winemakers such as myself more joy than to actually make balanced wines with multiple sites. If we were dealing with just one vineyard, it would have been a little bit more difficult to actually come across with something as balanced as a Bordeaux blend that everybody's looking at making. So having fruit coming from a mountain site like Godspeed, and then a rich soiled area with a lot of dark fruit components coming out of Young Englewood, and then the fleshy, round texture that you get from wines out of South Napa. We're actually going to get a lot of play when we get down to blending in trying to achieve that balance that everybody in the Vayniac group's looking for. Now, as far as oak intensity, it's just a matter of what level of the wine, which I believe we're making 20 barrels of. So that's, it's a nice combination. It's almost like being a small winery here with 20 barrels. So by choosing which wines go into the new barrels versus which wines go into the once used or neutral barrels, that will give us a lot of also play when it comes time to blend the Vayniac Bordeaux blend or Cab blend, to see where the oak integrity is actually going to come into play in terms of where it'll show.
What about aromatics? The group is looking for something a little bit bigger. How does that play out?
So aromatics really do actually come through the more riper components of the blocks that we're going to get fruit from. I wouldn't expect a lot of aromatics from Godspeed. That's really going to be your tannin backbone of your wine. You should be looking at aromatics from Young Englewood, as well as probably Carrefour. The Suscal Bench is actually going to supply us with a little bit of Merlot as well as Cab, and then of course that real pretty Cab Franc that we already got from Young Englewood, I anticipate being a good portion of the aromatic profile of the wine. I do believe that we are going to get a much healthier and much more stable fermentation if we actually do go with a cultured yeast, and there are a handful of them that are really good for Bordeaux varieties like Cab Franc, and Merlot. One is Bordeaux Red, the other one is D254, and those actually are both very strong fermenters where we could potentially have, a well alcohol leveled wine, meaning it's going to be in the 14.5 to 15 range. Again, though, to go back to that balance statement, it's all a matter of how the fruit intensity absorbs that alcohol, and you can actually expect to have a lot of depth and viscosity with a 14.5 to 15 alcohol and still have all of those real wonderful fruit components. And during fermentation, we will be looking at actually getting the temperatures up there anywhere between 88 and 94 degrees, where we don't really blow off a lot of the aromatics, but also really take advantage of the power that we can get from that temperature heat to get as much of the color out of it. I guarantee the Vayniacs out there that we will have one of the darkest wines that we're going to produce.
You can find the wine plan in the Crushnet group, so check it out, and we even have little information about each of the decisions that Kian is making along with Gary to get that wine that you want. We're really excited to get this thing going. Keep your fingers crossed for a nice smooth fermentation, and let's make some wine.
I'm ready.
All right, thanks Vayniacs.
Bye.